I get it, you standing there looking at a stack of medical equipment catalogs, trying to figure out whether you should spend a few $100s on a patient lift or keep juggling the old manual methods that have been dragging you down for years. The biggest fear is ending up with a device that looks good on paper, but turns out to be a daily hassle, or worse, a false sense of safety when you actually need that extra reliability. You want to know if the Invacare Reliant 450 is the kind of lift that will actually make a difference in your home or care facility, without turning a simple transfer into a full-time project. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's dig into what the Reliant 450 really brings to the table, because the numbers alone don't tell the whole story. First off, the 450-pound capacity is a clear signal that this lift is aimed at heavier weight scenarios, which eliminates a lot of guesswork for families with larger patients or for care homes that need a versatile piece of equipment. The low base design means the lift can get under a person even when they are lying flat on a mattress, with a low profile, something you've probably struggled with on a standard patient lift that just can't get close enough. In practice, that translates into being able to slide the lift's base under a patient who's already on a low-profile hospital bed, then raise them up without having to first lift the mattress or reposition pillows. For anyone who's tried to lift a patient with a traditional hoist only to find the base hitting the edge of the bed, this is a game changer. Now, the real value of the Reliant 450 shows up when you think about day-to-day use. The swap-and-go battery system comes with 2 batteries and a wall charger, which means you can keep one battery in the lift while the other charges, swapping them out in under a minute. In a busy home environment, that eliminates the dreaded downtime, where you have to wait for the lift to recharge before you can complete the next transfer. I've spoken with several home care professionals who say that being able to keep the lift running continuously is not just a convenience, it's a safety issue. Imagine a scenario where a caregiver needs to move a patient from the bedroom to the bathroom in the middle of the night. No one wants to be caught with a dead battery at that point. But the lift isn't flawless. One practical drawback that shows up in real-world setups is the footprint of the unit. Because it's built to support up to 450 pounds and includes a sturdy base for stability, it occupies more floor space than lighter, lower-capacity models. In smaller apartments or rooms that are already cramped with other equipment, you might find it a tight fit. The manufacturer does provide a floor-to-high bed transfer capability, which is great if you have the room to maneuver, but you'll need to plan the layout carefully. If you're a single caregiver in a tight space, you might want to consider a lighter weight lift with a smaller base that can still handle the patient's weight, but takes up less room. Another point to consider is the learning curve. The Reliant 450 advertises superior maneuverability and caregiver ease, and that's true when you've had a bit of practice. The controls are intuitive, simple up and down joysticks and a few buttons for speed control, but the initial setup takes a few minutes. You have to align the lift correctly under the patient, attach the 6-point swivel bar, and make sure the sling is positioned just right. For a seasoned caregiver, that process becomes second nature, but for a family member who's new to using a lift, it might feel a bit intimidating the first few times. The good news is that the swivel bar is padded and designed to reduce pressure points, which helps avoid the common complaint of straps digging into the patient's skin during a transfer. Still, it's worth budgeting a little extra time for training or watching a tutorial video before the first use. Who should definitely consider this lift? If you're caring for a patient who weighs close to or exceeds 350 pounds, or if you need a device that can handle a range of transfers from floor pickups to high bed lifts, the Reliant 450 ticks the boxes. It's also a solid choice for small care facilities that need a single, reliable lift that can serve multiple rooms without worrying about capacity limits. The inclusion of 2 batteries and a wall charger essentially gives you always-on capability, which is a major selling point for any environment where downtime isn't an option. On the flip side, if your primary need is occasional transfers for a lighter patient, and you're working within a tight living space, you might be better off with a low-capacity lift that has a slimmer base. Those models often sit on a smaller footprint and can be easier to store when not in use. Also, if you're on a very tight budget and can't afford